If you would like to support the channel, you can do that by way of the links that you see in front of you or by going underneath the video in the description area and clicking on either one of the three links that you see. Susan Lawrence, age 58, a white Florida woman who appeared in court in a vest, is accused of erasing her black neighbor after a dispute over her children playing in the front yard. The woman is accused of taking the life of mother of four, Ajike A.J. Owens, who was age 35 at the time, in her own front yard. Owens' young son, after a bitter 2-year dispute between the pair, came to a tragic end on June 2nd. She spoke to confirm her name and date of birth, telling the court that she was unemployed and had to file for disability 2 weeks ago after leaving her job. She did not enter a plea of any of the charges. Lawrence is charged with manslaughter with a firearm, culpable negligence, battery of 2 counts of assault after erasing Owens in Florida. She was arrested 4 days after the fatal confrontation and admitted to the cops that she erased Owens through her front door when the mom approached the property amid a row over her children trespassing and arguing with Lawrence. Lawrence stated that she has no savings and does not own her home and owed $22,000 on her vehicle. Prosecutors have not yet filed a motion for paternal detention, so the judge was unable to set a bond on the case. The law states that it must be submitted within 5 days of the first appearance. Lawrence told the hearing that she had been working for United Healthcare until 2 weeks ago and assisted her sister around the house who lived in the same area. Represented by a public defender, Lawrence will next appear in court on June 9th, with the judge setting a motion hearing for July 11th. Lawrence, who has lived in the Florida area for 15 years, stated that she feared for her life during the incident. But the sheriff's office stated that they would dismiss her version of the events as BS on Thursday, adding video captured on security camera at a neighbor's property was the final nail in the coffin. It was also stated by the sheriff that the accounts from Owens's children backed up the surveillance footage that was seen by the cops. Quote, there are things that people say that we're able to prove is a yellow flag, a BS flag, and say no, that this is wrong. She couldn't see through the door. She couldn't see the individual. So her comments that she was in fear of her life raises the hair on the back of my neck. Lawrence, an insurance agent, claimed that the cameras were functional but only recorded motion at night and sometimes do not capture anything. The cameras are accessible through her phone, and after initially declining to give the passcode, Lawrence handed over the phone. Lawrence's home has one camera facing the patio and the other attached to the sliding door. Lawrence was left in possession of her phone for 2 hours after being placed inside of a police car, and footage shows her accessing it briefly. However, it is unclear what she did on the phone from the view of the camera, and it was subsequently taken into evidence. Lawrence stated to the cops that Owens' children had been trespassing on her property, with neighbors revealing that she had a problem with kids and would record them before taunting them with slurs as well as waving her weapon around in their direction. A neighbor by the name of Phyllis Wills, age 33, stated that Lawrence would harass her kids, adding, quote, everybody in the neighborhood has feuded with this lady over our children. Other parents have stated that they call her a Karen after she repeatedly filmed their children and called the police about their antics. Quote, it's an apartment complex. There are children who, they're going to do things. Every time they went even in a patch of the grass over there, she was like, get off of my lawn, you expletive, or you racial slur. She would wave weapons directly at them. When interviewed by police, one of Owens' sons claimed that Lawrence had previously called them a expletive and a jack expletive, as well as saying, quote, this isn't the Underground Railroad slave. Owens went over to Lawrence's home to confront her over the allegations that she threw a rollerblade at one of the children early in the day and smashed a table before swinging an umbrella directly at them. An arrest affidavit revealed that Lawrence had called 911 at 11:54 p.m. on June 2nd to complain about the children were trespassing, telling officers that they were shouting outside of her door. Minutes later, officers then received several other emergency calls advising shots heard in the area, with Lawrence calling again to state that a female tried to break down her door while yelling and she erased her. Shirley told her son, age 12, to call 911 after she had been wounded by Lawrence. With the young boy telling officers that she was knocking on the door, she was rushed to the hospital where she later passed. Lawrence stated that she fired her weapon and admitted to owning another weapon, claiming she only purchased the weapons for protection after an altercation with Owens. She then told the cops that she felt like she was in mortal danger and was fearful for her life before claiming that she never intended to hit the victim and she hit really high. All right, so this is where we are. These are some of the same things that I have heard before. I'm in fear of my life. I'm in mortal danger. I'm standing my ground. And the most interesting thing that whenever I happen to have posted those things, you would have had during the time fields of people show up to basically defend that person and say a variety of things, right? You would even have some black people roll up and they would specifically state that, oh, well, they shouldn't have been there, always trying to antagonize the, the whatever. And here you have it on a whole different angle because instead of it being a black man, which the world hates, this is a black woman. And from everything that I'm seeing nothing but silence. I'm not seeing people trying to come at this from a different angle. I'm not seeing people trying to say a whole bunch of negative things or insinuate or throw different situations and variables directly in there. It's pretty much quiet, it's calm. And I'm like, that's a problem because realistically, how this has normally been shown is that if it's a black man, then automatically he is 100% in the wrong, yada, yada, yada. You clear cut heard the story. You know that the black woman is directly in the right, irregardless of whatever it is that that woman wanted to state. We all know that the mother was in the right, right? The neighbor has had problems with other neighbors and their kids because she's been doing this consistently to everybody, but she selectively, right? Let me just break this down to people. She selectively chose who it is that she wanted to potentially end. She didn't do this to any of her other neighbors. She didn't state that she bought weapons for any other neighbors. She stated that she bought them specifically for a black woman. So for people not to, in a sense, see that race had something to do with this, you might want to sit up there and look at it. Because these are all of the same things that the cops use, right? Whatever the cops use and they get away with, this is what the greater majority will decide to use and state as well. Oh, he was in a bladed stance. I didn't know what he was doing. He was acting belligerent. He was acting erratic. Then they'll sit up to say that they had, fight or flight. And then they'll sit up there and go back to the police training. And then they'll sit up there and say that they had a right to defend themselves because, their lives were in danger, not just their lives, but the lives of their partners and also the public. So they had to sit up there and act, right? And that's exactly what she stated. She stated the exact same thing that the cops have stated when it deals with black men and young black boys being erased. And not only did she do that, she also took the potential, the light, right, that her kids had. Their kids will never see their mother ever again. All because she went over to the neighbor's house to defend her family, to defend her kids, and that's what happened. The neighbor literally saw that she was more than likely coming to the property. She stood back from the door. She probably yelled some stuff knowing that the mother was coming there to talk to her, to confront her about what it is that she said and did directly to those kids. And then she looked through that camera that she got hooked up to that ring door, and she decided to sit up there and fire. That's what she did. She didn't do it because she was fearful. That mother is not sitting up there breaking down a wooden door like, oh, she's trying to break down my door. She wasn't trying to break down no door. She probably gave a stern knocking on that door, and rightfully so. But again, is that going to knock down a house? Is that going to break anything? Is that going to cause an 8.7 on a Richter scale? It's not going to do any of that. But Lawrence decided that she wanted to do this because this is premeditated. This is something that she has been looking forward to. This is something that she's been wanting to do. Because again, I didn't hear any type of a sorry, any type of an apology, any type of, oh, I didn't know where my mind was, the adrenaline was right. You didn't hear none of that, which means that she knew exactly what it is that she was doing when she was going to do it. She just needed the right moment in order to enact that plan, and she got it. She ended a multitude of lives, right? And more than likely, Lawrence was looking for a way out anyway because she had a job. She doesn't really own anything. She doesn't have a savings. And she's also taking care of her sister. More than likely, she doesn't even want to do that anymore. So she's like, you know what? I can just easily do this and I can just live the rest of my life in prison, 3 square meals, don't have to worry about nothing, don't have to worry about rent, don't have to worry about bills, don't have to worry about insurance, don't have to worry about paying it, and I can just live with that. Like I said, I can look at her face and I can tell that she's done. She was done before this, before all of this. She was just looking for a way to make an escape, and she got it. And she got it. Like I said, this is 1,000% ridiculous. And again, I've stated to black women before, like, hey, you have people out here that don't mean you well, and this further proves that point. This further proves that point. The only thing that I can hope now is that for the black women out there that have those social media platforms, if they happen to even report and talk about this story, hopefully they'll do some protest. Hopefully they will get all of their ilk together and they'll do some marches. They'll bring some severe awareness to this. They will keep this directly in people's view for a very long time so that other black women will understand and know of the potentialities of that can happen. Because if they're not doing that, obviously, like I said before, they don't care about black women. And I'm just being 100%. I've tried to, tell black women, learn some self-defense, uh, you know, get your license to carry and, different things of that nature, or try to handle, situations vastly differently so that you don't have to worry about certain things like this transpiring. And, it just keeps happening. So again, just like the previous story that I put up, about like the hotel and the one previously, before that, hopefully, um, black women will pay attention and, they'll listen to something. Because as I keep stating, it's going to get worse before it gets better.